Can you? Интернет есть? Can you hear me now? Hello from Ukraine. Yes, finally. Hooray! I'm really glad that you can hear me. So thanks for your patience. And we are about to start. So we have finished the question. How can we engage? How can we as teachers can engage our audience? How can we engage our students to do this task, the reading, to write anything or something like that? So what are your ideas? So while you're thinking of my question, about my question, let me introduce myself again. My name is Diana Golovan. I am an ELT consultant in Linguist company, and interactive task. Thank you. And I love teaching English. I love talking about how to teach English. And today we are talking about motivation, about engaging students. So, what's the approach? That's nice, interesting. Teamwork. Thank you for the question, for your answer. To challenge students, right? Here I could agree with you 100%. It must be interesting for them. Here is, yeah, right, interesting. But what do we role play? Okay, thank you all for your wonderful answers. And here what I would like to tell you. Here is a word, but it's now just letters, so you have to put them in the correct order and make the word which will describe my answer to the question. So what word can you see here? Oh, right, you are. So I see some of the correct answers, and let's have a look. Yeah, this is meaning. What does it mean? Why, when the student sees the real purpose of what they're doing in the class, they're more likely to complete it successfully. And what we understand by meaning is the situation when you give your learners a sense of achievement, a sense of value and purpose. They have to understand why they do the task, and why they need this rule, or why do they need to read the text. Everything we ask our students to do should be close to their personal experience and their views, their interests, and their personality. For example, why do we need to read? Let's have a look at this text. Can you imagine yourself being 3 years old who was asked to read the text? Do you think, is it interesting? Will they do that? But what if we start from showing them the picture? Let's have a look here. Here you can see people at the restaurant or I don't know, at the tables. They are somewhere up in the air. The ground is below them. So, and after introduction, it would be good to ask students for their opinions. Where are the people? What are they doing? Remember, these are the third graders, 9 years old. Probably they don't have enough language to tell everything that they want with in English, right? So let's support them. Let's give them some ideas that they can refer to. So, for example, if you ask them why are they doing it, right? It could be quite difficult, quite challenging for a student to answer. So let's give them some options. Probably they're actors in the new film, or they're just visiting an unusual restaurant, or maybe it's a normal restaurant and this is a photo shop. What do you think? What are your ideas? Is it A, B, or C? Okay, I see different answers. So, and now I would like to engage you actually in doing the task. So please remember the picture, and I'm going to ask to give you the poll, right? So you have to choose the correct answer. Not the correct answer, but what do you think the people are doing? So is it A, B, or C? So you will have 2 minutes to answer the questions. Okay, so try to, you just have to click in the circle that you think is the correct one. All right, can you do that on your screen? Okay, I can see some people have already done that. Yeah, you're very active today, and that's really nice. Okay. Okay, just some more minutes or even some more seconds, and we're gonna find who is the right. No, we don't going to see who is right, but we will see what are your opinions, what your opinion is. Okay, all right, so 10 more seconds. So more and more people are doing that. Okay. All right. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to close this and so now you can see, right? So you have different ideas. Thank you for that. And just a second, let me show you the screen again. Right. So now you have chance to look at the text and find the correct answer. Right. So is it A, B, or C? Okay. So why are they doing it? The answer is hidden somewhere in the text. Okay, yes, I see that there are some people who already found it. So yes, the answer is B. They're visiting unusual restaurant. Moreover, so you see, we just shift the focus from the reading itself to the game, right? Make guesses and then try to compare your ideas and the text ideas. So this is very important. Moreover, it's very nice if you would refer to the personality of your students. So you will ask them some questions like, would you like to try it? Would you be scared, right? And then ask to see what are what children in the text feel, what they think, if they're scared or no, and something like that, right? So they can compare themselves to other children. Okay, let's move on. This is the common situation when the more advanced levels are asked to read the big texts, right? it can be boring, not interesting. So, as you can see, here is an example from the live book, second edition, intermediate level. So students are quite good in English now, but still, who would like to spend so much time on reading long text? So what does the book propose to us? Let's have a look. First, they create some interest by asking students to discuss some questions. And again, have a look at the questions. They refer to the personality, to the life of your pupils, right? What is your lifestyle? Do you often hear the comments? So students start feeling that they is interested in them, right? It's not just some facts, but the students who are in the first place, right? After that, let's give them, have a quick look, right? So read the task together with the students. The article is about, and ask the students to be as quick as possible and to find the correct answer, right? They will get the general information, they will get the main idea, and for them it will be easier to understand details of the text. They got acquainted with that. So let's move on to the next exercises, right? Fill in the gaps, the typical exercises. But again, what I like about the book is that the topics are not trivial. So it's something that lots of people talk about today, right? And the questions are not very simple, so it's very, you can't, not always guess it, right? You really need to read. For example, caffeine is a drug which changes your, what can it change, right? So it could be, it's like a hook that makes children or teenagers or adults read the text, right? And finally, in real life, why do we read? We don't read just because we want to read. Of course, sometimes when we have time, we can take a book and read for pleasure. But mainly what we do, we read to get some information. We read it to use this information, right? What does the book? Again, it gives your student the opportunity to compare their lifestyle and what writer says about it, right? Have a look at the question. Do you think anything the writer says is true about your own lifestyle? What, right? This what question prevents from short answers like yes or no, right? It just helps to develop the ideas, helps to add meaning to the reading, right? Why did I read it? Because I wanted to know what writer, is it true what writer says about my lifestyle, right? I want to compare. So again, my personality is on the first place and it's important. So to sum up, we read when we talk about personal experience. When you're asking students to do something, right? Talk about their personal experience. Ask them to make guesses, turn it into a game. Ask them to compare ideas with the author's ideas. So give them the meaning why they need to do that. Let's move on to the grammar. Can you imagine teaching young learners do that? Is it easy to explain them when we use can? What are the forms of the can? So if the first graders see that, even if you use your native language, it would be quite difficult to understand what is going on the lesson, right? And especially this to particle, right? Do not use to after can. What does the teacher say? This is what is in the head of the students, and they can get distracted at this point. So what can you do? Give them lots of examples. Give them something that they know, for example, animals, and make some silly sentences like the book proposes, right? Parrots can speak. Yeah, it's usual. Cats can cook. Huh, can you imagine the cat standing next to the starve and cooking the soup, right? So no, of course the cats can't cook, and so you don't need to explain anything. The students understand the meaning of the function of this word can just from the context. And after that, again, ask the students to make their own silly sentences and read them to you. So they just saw the model, and after that they can use it, and they don't need anything to, they don't need big rules to understand that, right? They need just the examples, the nice picture, and the reason why you should do that. In this case, just to have fun, right? To entertain the teacher. Okay, let's move on to the adults, right? Here is a more advanced task. Like you can see a robot doing something here, right? And the question, so that's how you can create an interest, make your students forget about their phones, about talking to their friends, and show them something that they don't expect to see during the English language. And unusual photos are one of the things that can help you do that. So show them this picture of a robot doing some laundry and ask to work in pairs and to find out to make a list of what other jobs can robots do at home. Yeah. So first, involve them, make them the active participant of the lesson. And after that, for example, you can collect the ideas, you can write their ideas, or the most popular ideas, on the board, and together with them make some predictions, like robots will do ironing, robots certainly do cleaning, right? What you do here, again, you just give them the meaning. Why do they need this grammar? And they were active at the very beginning, and they work with you through all these words, and they understand that they need this grammar to make predictions, right? You can just waste some time on the lesson while explanations. You have to explain, of course, but first let them understand why they need to listen to your explanations, right? Give them something that is really interesting, really engaging, make them look at you, listen to you, be an active participant of the lesson. And after that, move to explanations, right? Or it would be even more interesting if you don't give the explanations by yourself, but ask them, now look at the rules and compare what you say with the rules. So, right? And after that, you just fix something that they need. So here is what I would like to say about grammar. Right, so just to sum up quickly, yes, so they need grammar to complete personalized tasks. First, personality of the students, then grammar, right? Not vice versa. I need present simple, not because I need to know all the rules of present simple. I sometimes talk about what I do at work. That's why I need to know how to say that correctly, right? So just shift the focus. Games is one of the way to engage students. Like I have shown you those games with silly sentences. It could be different games. And here I asked you, only children, only young learners like games. I would like to say that everyone likes games, right? Even adults would be grateful to play, to do something that can make them fun and forget about their work and routine. Right? Why do we need to speak? National Geographic Learning series are great with presenting nice, high-quality photos and videos. And here is one of these. There is a photo of the street. You don't need to surf it somewhere in the on the internet, there it is in the book, right? And it's a perfect way to start talking. Before the webinar, I had emails about with the questions about what to do in the morning circles. So as far as I know, students have to speak during this morning circles, right? So why don't you show them a picture and discuss it? The picture that can have something unusual, not trivial, right? That will make them speak. So let's have a look at this very picture. You can see the street. It's quite crowded street with some transport, right? So what can you do with this picture? And here comes several tips from the lesson planner. For example, put the students into groups of 2 or 3, depends on how old they are, and depends on their relationship, and ask to think of at least 7 words they can relate to the cities and towns. So what you do, you just activate their vocabulary. You don't ask anything that is really difficult. You ask something that students can do, right? Just to recall some words. If you see that they are a bit confused, tell them that they can suggest places, people, some words. Give them examples, right? So you just start with that. You start slow. You start with something that is doable. What also we have in the lesson planner is these tips for the teachers, right? So they give you some information that you can use in order to start the conversations with with your pupils. You can ask, what do you think the city is, right? Why so many people, right? And you can see the related vocabulary. So the book gives you these ideas what students may need, right? So you create a conversation about the photo. If you have big classes, ask them to work in smaller groups and then choose one person to present their ideas, or maybe to discuss, or to make the list of something and put it somewhere on the board or on the wall. Give them time, and the teacher just walks from one group to another group and listens, so the work is going on. Right, and after that, you can actually start doing the book task, right, to talk about the photo, what the book suggests. So ask the students to read the questions themselves and to find out, to decide what the answers can be, right? How can you describe the street and this street thing, right? You have recalled so much vocabulary before that. Now students will tell you about this. And really, when I watch these pictures, I want to talk about them for lots of time. Coming back to the first graders, this is the photo of a real family, right? Not the cartoons, not some fictional characters, right? But the real family that looks like students can maybe recall something. They can recall how they went with their parents during the holidays and something like that. They will want to share with you because this photo gives us some warm feelings, the feeling that this is real, and the photos are what students are used to, actually, right? They grow up while their parents taking photos of them. They use social networks, so photos are everywhere, and they have lots of photos with their friends, and this is what they're used to, right? So it's the new content for modern children, right? Not all that something that out of date, right? But something that is really good now, right? And to make them speak, first support them, give them the opportunity to understand what they need to say, right? You can give your own story about your family, right? Then you can ask them to bring their photos, maybe beforehand, if you know that you're going to have this lesson. Of course, if old famous drawings, right, they're always helpful. So ask them to draw and to speak about their family. Again, not about some fictional family, but their own family. And the language is quite easy. So children who are 6 years old will be easily using these phrases to talk about the family, and they will remember that because they talked about something personal. Help them with some phrases on the board. Maybe for shy students, use puppets. Why not, right? Let's move to teenagers. Live second edition series ask us to do the tasks and to talk about own life, about own vision, about own interests, right? So here is one example of the speaking task, talking about modern life, right? Have a look at this exercise. It's about some slogans about modern life. And the task here is to use the words in the box and to put them in the gaps, to fill in the sentences correct. So have a look. Here are the answers. Right, and after that, the students get some really interesting things to talk about, right? These things are typical of a 24-hour society. Discuss the questions, right? This is not talking about like what happened 10 years old or 10 years ago, sorry, or the last century, right? The students talk about what is happening right now with them, so they can really have something to say, right? So some of them can have difficulties with sleep. Maybe someone is very busy at work, so he or she will tell you about taking this takeaway food and so on, right? So my point is up-to-date topics, right? This is what can make students speak, right? And something that can touch students. When they talk about their life, when everything that you do in the lesson turns back to their personality, they feel that they feel their value, that they are appreciated, and that they are heard. Right? Some extra ideas. What can you do for that? For the teacher, right? It's a good idea to find out more about your students' interests. You know they like sports, so from time to time, return to this. You know that they are future IT specialists. Talk about computers with them, right? It will be nice to give students options, right? Today we can talk about, give them some 1, 2, 3 topics to talk about today, and they choose. Sometimes you can give them freer choice. Sometimes you can decide what choice they have, right? So you control them, but not in so direct way. Why do we need to write? Can you imagine the first grader or the second grader who has to write? Sometimes it can be fun, but most of the times you can hear something like, oh no, why do we need to write? Maybe we can play the game. I don't want to do that, and something like that. But again, if we turn the focus out from the personality of the student turn the focus to the personality of the student and out from the writing itself, it will make sense. So here is a suggestion to create a really simple card game, right? And then to draw and to write what you can do and what you can't do. Then children can exchange these cards, or they can decide what they have in common with their partners, or what is the most popular thing in the class, right? And actually, it is very common when students do something with their hands during the breaks at home. It's very easy and understandable for the students. Some other suggestions how they can write. So they can create picture dictionaries by themselves, right? By making their own pictures, writing words as they want. Yeah, they can do little books, right? For numbers, for colors, maybe then to write some stories. But the story in the copybook and the story in such a little book, it's a totally different story, right? So let's use this idea. Some group projects are also a great way, even for the first month of the school. Of course, when we talk about teenagers or adults, little books can't be very helpful and motivating. So you can ask them to write an email, to write some post-it notes. Again, this is what everyone does. Why not using it during the lesson? Ask them to read real reviews and to write their reviews. So that's what we do when we want to buy things or something like that. Use travel blogs and ask them to write some blogs. Maybe create the group on the social network, if it is possible, of course, and ask them to add ideas there. So they will write, but they will do it in the way that they will see the meaning of, because I don't write for the teacher to check my work and throw it in the bin. I write it somewhere where I usually write to talk to my friends. Of course, sometimes students need some handwriting. Ask them to make a photo of their writing and put that on this Facebook page, for example, right? Okay. The Wonderful World series are also great when you want, because of the videos that they provide us with. So you can see the high quality videos, and all the lesson is carefully structured. First, you will talk about something that will help you to get the idea, to recall the words that are necessary. After that, study some new vocabulary. This is also important. If you want children to listen, if you want any of your students to listen, help them, support them, give them some tasks. While they don't need just to listen because of this is listening, right? They have to, for example, to complete their gaps again, to compare their ideas and the real facts from the video. And again, lesson planner comes for us and helps us with ideas. Before you start doing exercises, look through the instructions with the class. Help them if they don't understand anything. Help them to understand how to complete the task. Ask what type of words they will need to listen while they watch the video. When they need adjectives, when they need verbs, maybe it's a noun. Look at number 3. The sign above formed just like N, right? If you see N, this is probably a noun, and it probably starts with a vowel, right? So you help them to take their knowledge and to use them. before you watch the video, they actually did the tasks, and then they will listen to the information because they need to compare it, right? So why do we need to listen? Just to check if you are right? Not just because I want you to listen, but you have so great ideas. Let's listen and see how many of them did you guess correctly, right? So by the way, here are the answers. You see number 3, like an oven. And after, never skip this. After any activity, do some follow-up tasks. Ask to talk about own experience, about own interests. So they have to get used how to apply information that they get to their experience. And by doing this, they will understand that we need to listen not because of the listening, but because after that we can use this information. We need to read not just because our teacher told us to do, but because after that we can compare and to add something to our own experience. All right. So because of the problems, we have like a minute, so I have some questions. How often do you give tests for students to check over their knowledge of vocabulary? Well, I think it's a good idea to check the vocabulary and grammar actually as often as it is possible, but in a different way. It shouldn't always be the test. It shouldn't always be like the dictation, right? It can be a crossword. It can be a game. For example, the student takes a card, reads what is on the card, tries to explain it to others, or tries to draw the picture and others guess. So you can recall and revise the vocabulary all the time, but in a different form. And as for tests, also, it's a good idea to ask students to make their own tests. That's what I did. Please draw some pictures and give it to your partner. They have to write the words. Or make the crossword, or do the word search, something like that. Okay, so I think if you have any of the questions, I would be happy to answer them. So you can contact me. So in a second, I will show you my ideas. And if you are interested in your professional development, here what Linguist Company suggests is to join these seminars, conferences, schools for teachers that help you develop your skills and to grow as a professional. So take a note of the phone, of the site, and really wonderful professionals will help you to develop. As for my today's session, I was really inspired by these 2 wonderful series, which are great with their photos, with their videos, with their ideas of what to do. So actually, if I have these books, I don't have to use extra materials. I have everything there, and it really helps me. So very quickly, this is a short summary of how to bring the meaning into the classroom. You ask questions, you ask to make predictions, you use real-life context, you add some creativity and let your students make something valuable, so something that they can touch, right? You find out about your students' interest and use it, right? And add some fun and healthy competitiveness. Okay, I think that I'm going to... maybe you can see me now. I really hope that you can see me. So here are my contact details. So I will be happy to talk to you in person, and to give you some consultations about National Geographic Learning books And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And so let's keep in touch. And one more thing about our Facebook page. So there you can, we are going to have a raffle and to give some very valuable prizes. I won't tell you what they are for now, but believe me, they are something that worth doing that. So in a few weeks on our Facebook page, they're going to be a very interesting competition for the teachers, and some of you who are lucky will get really valuable prizes. So follow us, and good luck with that. So I think I have to say you goodbye for now, and see you in some time. Again, I will be very happy to answer any questions, so you can write me. And yeah, thank you. So goodbye. Have a nice weekend, and then a fresh and inspiring start of the academic year.